And what I'm aiming with token analysis is to make better investment mechanisms that eventually surpasses what we already know as traditional venture capitals. And I really see a future where if we make these better systems and if we make these better investment opportunities for people, eventually we could change the whole venture capital and investment industry. And I really, really hope that we can do that with token analysis and we can do that on Cardano, is to actually revolutionize industries. And blockchain is not something that just happens on our legal bubble, but we actually change the world and we actually change how things are done.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Woodland Pools. We are here in Buenos Aires, sitting down finally in person with the Token Analysis team. Alex, Lucas, so great to finally sit down with you guys and be able to talk about the project. Thank you so much for having me. So let's maybe start with maybe if you guys can introduce yourselves, and then we'll talk about the project and kind of go from there.
Awesome.
Well, I'm Lucas Machiavelli. I've been on the Cardano community and building on crypto for almost 3 years. I've joined during the bull market in 2021, and it's been an amazing journey. It's been an incredible life experience. I fall in love with crypto when I started hearing about tokenization. I realized the huge potential and the huge industry there was going to be in the future in tokenization. I'm one of the founders of Token Analyze. I started Token Analyze in February 2021. And originally, because I fall in love with tokenization so much, I wanted Token Analyze, or I imagined Token Analyze as a tokenization of businesses platform, right? So we started as a crowdfunding platform, but as the idea developed, the industry developed as well, because a lot has happened since then, we started thinking about the best method of actually achieving this, which was actually investing in companies using blockchain technology. So now Token Analyze has evolved to a decentralized venture capital. So a venture capital basically is a group of people that wants to invest in certain projects or startups with a specific goal, right? So venture capital has been a proven method of investing in companies. If you look at pretty much every unicorn out there, Google, Facebook, well, Meta actually, Teslas, they all been invested by venture capitals. And we started thinking, okay, venture capitals are great, but they have some problems, right? Because due to how they are structured, they have investors and you have the managers of fund. They often lead to some centralization. They often lead to conflict of interest, lack of transparency. And we started thinking, since we are Cardanians and we love Cardano and blockchain so much, Cardano is supposed to be the financial structure of the world. It's supposed to be the network or the blockchain to actually improve things, right? The growth has experienced some unprecedented growth in the past few decades, and I believe blockchain and Cardano can really bootstrap that and skyrocket with that. So we started thinking, if VCs has been an incredible way of growing our world, why not grab the best and what already has been working with the traditional world, a traditional legacy system, and actually implementing blockchain technology to it? And that's how Token Analyze Decentralized VC was born, which is basically a venture capital which is managed by the same investors. So the investors and the managers of the fund merge into one with a Token Analyze DAO.
So Alex.
Yeah, I'm Alex Peschanker. I'm in blockchain since 2017 as an active investor. Before that, I was curious about the technology, but didn't want to spend too much time about that yet at that time. I've been in technology since '83, so that's quite a very long time ago. And I've seen many waves of technologies and stuff, so I'm very excited about where we are right now in blockchain and other exponential technologies. I'm the CTO of Token Analyze. I joined the team after it was funded the first time with Lucas, and we are very excited being here and contribute in a space where there seems to be a huge gap in the way that we can impact the Cardano ecosystem.
Nice. That's really cool. And so Lucas gave a little bit of the background about like what the project is. So I guess when it came together, so you're CTO. What's your title at the company?
I'm the CEO.
Okay, cool. And so then, so the two of you guys are working together in that way, and that's sort of like the inspiration behind it. In terms of, so maybe anything else that either of you want to add in terms of what what the vision is. I think it's pretty clear, right? Like VCs have done that injection of capital has helped a lot of the best companies start up and start going. We want to see how you can bring that in a decentralized way, which is sort of the spirit of Cardano, into how do we do that where anybody can invest. Do I have that right? Is there anything else that you want to add there? Is that basically the idea?
Yeah, so Cardano is a great system. It's a great blockchain. It has lots of cool stuff, lots of builders, amazing technology. But we really believe we are missing something, right? Which is capital.
Yeah.
And Cardano and the Cardano community has this vision of anti-venture capitals, and we really started thinking about this and why this secure, right? And we started thinking, why not have the best of both worlds, right? Have a VC, which is decentralized.
Right, yeah, that's interesting.
And like I was mentioning, Cardano has everything that it needs to succeed. But if you talk to pretty much every builder out there, we've been on the community for 3 years, we talk with lots of builders, and they all have the same problem. They actually need funding to scale,
Yeah.
And that's something that other blockchain has, and they have experienced some amazing growth. And we're talking now, we're thinking, why don't we have these venture capital models which are decentralized, which actually align with the vision of Tokenalize? And we are really making some amazing progress. The community seems to be really liking what we're doing, and when we succeed, and if we succeed, I think Cardano will be quite very well equipped to actually scale these companies that we now have to millions and billions of users.
Nice.
Right.
And I think going into a little bit more detail, because maybe in the audience we have people that say, well, but we have Project Catalyst, right?
Right, sure.
So we do have funding. Yeah.
So that's a great question. So what's the difference between Project Catalyst and what it's trying to do and what Tokenalize? That's a great question, right? So what's the difference between the two and what they're each trying to achieve, and how Tokenalize is different?
Well, it depends on who you ask, because
Sure.
Project Catalyst has not a well-defined
Sure. From your perspective, how about
focus.
that, to
For
make
our
it easier, from your perspective as a project?
We think that Project Catalyst is a good seed money for creating your idea, validating your first MVP, do some scaling for some projects. It's a good source of investment, and it's a grant type of investment, so you don't require to give your equity or any other form. So it's a great starter type of VC.
Yeah.
It's like in the fiat world, it's comparable to an accelerator or a seed capital type of VC.
More like a proof of concept, kind of like just get
or something that gets you out of the door to your first customers.
Yep, sure.
But that's it. And then you have the huge whales where you are very successful, such as Book.io, for example, that you definitely can reach out to big whales or big VCs, and they will notice you and they will get into talks with you. The thing is the value of the debt, which is in the middle, right? When you already have your business model proven, and you have your first customers, and you are scaling up, and you're hiring your first staff or other people, then you realize that working capital is a limitation.
Right.
And if you don't have the proper working capital, you cannot cope with the market demand. And then if you are, especially you are in a bear market, you realize that you have the opportunity to scale up, but then you suddenly lack the funds. And that's where we think that Tokenalize, or a model like Tokenalize, can really fill that gap. Because you probably need, a $1 million, $2 million type of investment to scale up to your next, 10,000, 100,000 type of customers, or you need to reach out to another country, for example, or hire a sales department,
right.
Or a new top-notch developer, and that's where these type of VCs make sense, and that's why we have in the fiat world the Series A, Series B type of venture capitals that we now lack in Cardano, because most of those type of venture capitals are outside of our ecosystem, and because of this sentiment that Lucas mentioned, we are not that friendly to involve them.
Right.
And there's a reason for that, because the traditional VC model is centralized, and you have to, first of all, you have to be docs, and you have to be an accredited investor in order to be able to invest there. And on the other side, you leave a specific set of people, which usually are a very few amount of people, to manage your capital. And once you're invested, you don't have any saying, you don't have any governance type of decision making that you can do there.
Oh, right,
so the idea of token analysis is to solve that, the gap in Cardano, and a decentralized model for the VCs.
Interesting. So I think philosophically that makes a lot of sense, and from a lot of ways in terms of the infusion that the companies need, the decentralized spirit that Cardano has, the accessibility of anybody being able to invest. So like all of that makes sense from like a philosophical standpoint. So maybe let's talk a little bit more about then how it actually comes together, right? So I know, we covered it a little bit in the channel when Tokenize was first launching, and I know you guys have different kinds of tokens that correspond to different functionalities of how it works. There's the DAO side, there's the allied tokens that come when you actually invest. Can you talk through a little bit about what those are and how they work? And maybe it would be helpful if we talk through like a concrete example. Like let's say, like Alex has a new company that he's starting, right? And Tokenize is going to be part of that. And I want to invest in that. Maybe if you use that example, if he has the company I want to invest, how does Tokenize work and what kinds of tokens do I get and how those work together to make that happen?
Yeah, sure. We can go through the whole timeline of
Sure.
a Tokenize fund,
Sure.
right? The idea is we are a VC. VCs launch different funds, right?
Right.
Each fund has different purpose, different targets, different sizes, right? So we can go with an example of our first fund, which we are actually planning and are closely gonna be announcing, which is our first MVP fund, which is
Okay.
gonna be Fund 1.
Okay.
And this Fund 1 is gonna consist of investing in several Cardano projects.
Okay.
Right, but it's not just investing in any project. It's about investing in already proven projects that are already working on the
Right.
Cardano community. So again, talking about this lifetime of the entrepreneur, where you have the seed investment and Series A and Series B, we are really targeting an empty spot and a dead zone in the Cardano journey for a builder, which is actually needing money to scale your product, your already working
Right.
product, right? So going back to the fund life cycle, it's gonna start initially as a proposal on our governance platform, which we're using Clarity right now, which is gonna be the approval of our first fund. So now in the following months, we are gonna send an open proposal with an investment thesis with this specific goal that we talked before, which is investing in Cardano projects. Now, once this proposal is sent, the DAO, the DBC holder, which is our DAO governance token, are gonna approve or deny the fund, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once it is approved, we are gonna launch the proposal on our Tokenize investment platform, right? So once the proposal is approved, we are gonna open a smart contract, which we are working actually with Marlo right now, for people to actually send funds to the fund, right?
And sorry, and just taking a step back, the proposal at that point, does that already have the companies that are going to be invested in and their amounts? Or is it just the outline of what the total funds are going to be?
Well, basically, what Lucas was telling us about was the creation of the fund,
Yeah.
right? So we choose for these first funds a cadence and a cycle of presenting proposals or applications from companies similar to Catalyst. So the funds will be open, and you as a company will
Okay.
come and apply to it,
Got it.
right? In order to make it more manageable and also more fair for different companies that want to compete with the existing funds,
Right.
and for the investors to be able to do a governance type more neat in terms of you have all these different options and you select the ones that
Yeah.
you prefer, right?
Right.
So in these fair funds, that's the idea. We are going to open a fund, and you will, as a company, you will apply to that fund. So let's continue with the example that Lucas was telling us. We will create this fund 1, which is a $1 million fund. First, you need to collect the money. So when the fund is approved and is open, any investor that is part of the DAO that would like to participate will be able to send his preferred amount of funds to that fund.
And sorry, that's what I'm trying to understand. What is it that's approved at that point? Is just the amount? Or
No,
like when
everything.
when you say it's approved, like
All the
what
investment
is being
thesis.
approved?
Yeah, we submitted investment thesis, which consists of the amount that will be invested, the amount of years that will
Oh, I
that,
see.
that,
Got it.
that investment will hold, the expected return
Okay.
of that investment, the type of companies, which who can apply, who cannot apply,
I see.
and all the details of an investment thesis.
Right.
So
Okay.
it will be
Makes sense.
approved or not approved. Of course, before submitting the fund, we will be discussing that fund with the DAO through our channels. So there could be some changes in the first proposition, but then once it's approved, it's completely approved or disapproved.
And that in terms of the thesis is that's where you can have conversations around, like you're saying, the kind of companies you want to invest in, and that could be either sectors of the market or regional or things like that.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so at that point we've decided how much you're spending, what your expected return is, what the timeline you're looking at, what are the kinds of companies that are allowed to even apply, and then it opens up for people to then start putting funds, start putting assets or investing into that fund.
Yeah, correct.
Got it. Okay.
So
now I'm with you again. Okay,
the first part is directed to investors.
Yeah.
Not to the companies.
To make the scope of what the investment is going to be.
Because at the end we are a VC.
Right.
So the first thing that you need to do in order to become a VC is you need to raise funds.
Right.
And you raise funds towards or convincing investors to be part of that.
Totally.
So the first part is directed to investors and have an open conversation about what type of first fund our investors will like to and what makes sense in terms of if I have this opportunity to be this type of decentralized protocol, how we test all the processes, how we test all the smart contract, how we test that there is investment interest in that. And that will be the conversation of this first fund.
Okay. So now at this point, the fund has been approved, you have the smart contract, and then people start sending what, ADA to that?
No, we will work in this first contract with the stablecoin.
Okay.
We are deciding on which one because there are a couple of stablecoins in Cardano today that could be suitable for what we are trying to raise. Remember that we are trying to raise $1 million, and even though that is a very low amount for blockchain, and it's a very low amount in purpose, for the stablecoin market is not that low.
We don't have much liquidity in stablecoins right now.
So we are selecting and we are in talks with USDM. We are talking with Indigo. We are talking with the people of Digit. And there are also other options that we consider, but it has to be in a stablecoin format.
Sure, that makes sense.
Because I mean, you don't know how much time it will pass till you raise the fund until you invest them.
Right.
So you need to have stabilization of those values. And the first one will be in a sort of stablecoin, and it will be in the range, as I said, of, let's say, I don't know how that will be decided yet, but let's say from $5,000 to $100,000 or so.
Right.
That type of investors we think that we are going to ask.
Okay. So then from there, the fund's been approved. You have the script address where people can send how much they want to invest. And then from the life cycle, what happens at that point?
Yeah, it's not going to be an address that they just have to send. It's going to be all done through our platform.
Okay.
Actually, we're just beginning to be on testnet. We're launching a private testnet. And it's a whole process that is streamlined on our platform.
Right.
It's not just send funds to a specific script. Okay. So once the reach amount is achieved, right? We have a soft cap and a hard cap of what we are aiming to raise.
Yep.
Once it is approved, we open up a process of registration and applying for companies, right?
Right.
So companies which are aligned with the goal of the fund, for example, we're talking about Cardano companies, they can apply. They're going to have to fill out a form with all the necessary information, numbers, a whole proposal about what they're actually planning on doing with the funds, like every venture capital does. And then, once all companies apply and the applying window closes, we have quite an interesting process, which is a due diligence process, right? Each fund, with a percentage of the amount raised, is gonna be audited or analyzed by a specific team, right?
Okay.
This is going to be the due diligence team that is going to be hired by the DAO, and they're going to write a full report on each of the companies that apply, right? And once you publish this due diligence report, we are going to be entering the voting phase.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
And then when we enter this stage, every person that sends funds or a stablecoin to this contract is going to receive the Ali token.
Okay.
The Ali token is going to be the governance token inside a fund.
That fund.
You don't have to confuse that with the DBC token, which is the DAO fund.
Got it.
Right? You have the Ali governance token, which is going to be working as voting power to determine who gets the funding on that funds.
And so to repeat it back to you, make sure I understand, the DBC token is the the DBC token is the is the governance and voting for the DAO of the approval of the fund itself, and then the ally token is the governance and voting of the investors to vote on which projects are approved within a given fund. Is that correct?
You have within the token allies DAO, you have kind of circles of governance and interest. So the first circle is the DAO circle,
Yep.
where you, as a DVC holder, you're part of the DAO, and with the DVC power that you have, take part of that decision-making process, which
Yep.
is basically approve funds,
Yep.
but also decide on what the DAO should be in the future,
Sure.
and also the treasury management of the
Sure.
DAO. Then you have a circle per fund
Right.
that is composed by the investors of that fund.
Right.
And then you have the ally token
Right.
that is only minted when a successful fund is open.
Right. And it's
right?
only for that fund.
It's only for
Right.
that fund. It is a liquid token, so you can participate, hold it or not.
Right.
You can do whatever you want with the ally token, but you will get a portion of the ally token minted for that specific fund, and that will represent your voting power.
That makes
So
sense.
that is relative to the amount of investment
Right.
that you have in that fund.
Okay, cool. So that makes sense. So now, at that point, it's been approved. There's a proportional distribution of these ally tokens, which give you the ability to vote on which projects are included and which are not, as part of from a funding mechanism standpoint.
Yeah.
And so now at this point, the voting happens, and we have our list of companies in a fund, right? And then what happens?
Yeah, and you have quite an interesting concept with the ally token, because if you think about it, it's only governance token, right? It's only working for voting power for
Right.
the fund, but then you're also gonna receive an NFT, and that NFT is gonna be your actual economic right?
Okay.
With that, in its metadata, you're gonna have the amount you invested.
Oh, I see,
so
okay.
by separating this, you can actually divide the token for the governance and for the actual investment.
Interesting.
And this creates quite an interesting dynamic that we think it's going to occur, that people might just want to sell their governance power, but they don't want to sell their economic claiming rights. And maybe you have these dynamics of people that actually want to get more ally inside the token to actually get more voting power. And for example, you create sort of an instant liquidity of a VC investment, because maybe you don't want the governance power, but you can actually sell it. We don't know how much it's going to be. Maybe it's 1%, or maybe it's 300% of your original investment. But in this mechanism, you actually get instant liquidity for at least a portion of your investment,
Right.
and you still get your economic claiming right.
And then what is the functionality of the ally token after the initial voting on the fund allocation? So like at that point, does it continue having utility after that point? Because
Yeah.
if you said the fund, here's who applied, we all voted on it. After that point, what value does the ally token have?
Well,
from a
let's get
governance
back to
standpoint?
the idea of accredited investor. We get rid of that concept
Right.
by allowing you to manage your funds, your
Right.
investments,
Right.
right? So if you're an investor in any token allies fund, you will have your allies governance power, and you are the one with all the other investors
Sure.
that decide on anything on that fund. So first you will decide on which companies will get the money.
Okay.
But then you can decide, hey, there is a vesting event coming for the company that is, committed to deliver this milestone. The company delivered the proof of that milestone. The investors of that funds are the ones that approve
I
that
see.
vesting.
Got it.
There
Or
is a-
not.
or not.
Right.
There is an exit opportunity. Okay, who will decide to take it or not?
Oh, that's
the investment
interesting.
of that fund.
Oh, that's really interesting. Okay.
So you are the
Yeah.
one that are managing your money. There is no decentralized team that
Interesting.
are operating the fund. It is the investors of that fund, the ones that are managing it, supported but the SMEs, the experts of the due diligence team that will accompany through the life of the fund as a support team for the investors.
So that's really interesting. So then you can fractionalize then your influence from a voting standpoint and a government standpoint by selling some or all of your ally tokens. Yeah. Is there a way to also fractionalize your financial investment? So let's say, for example, if I invested 100 ADA, I know it's less than your amount, but okay, fine, I invested 1 million ADA, right? And I want to get some liquidity out of that, but still stay partially invested. Is there a way for me to take my NFT and fractionalize it to keep 500,000 and sell 500,000?
Well, actually, that's something that we talk. And for example, with this, you could start having something like a token allies ETF, right? For example, you have a third party
Right.
that wants to buy one NFT worth maybe, I don't know, 1,000 ADA, and eventually that party could tokenize it and split it into 1,000 tokens and
Right.
sell it, yeah, right? And we have several partners. We have partners with Maze Protocol and Metera Protocol, both which are working a lot in the, well, you know them, working a lot in the investment world and the ETF world. So we see several opportunities in the future to actually start talking about tokenizing the actual economic claiming rights. And that's why we see Tokenalize as a venture capital. And we see a lot of expanding opportunities for the Tokenalize economic ecosystem, right?
And I should add, at first, we know that what we are creating is very complex in
Right.
terms of the model,
Yeah.
and we don't want to add more complexity
Sure.
out of that.
Yeah.
We want to respect our investors, support them, and specifically secure their funds,
Right.
right? So we don't want to overcomplex something that is already complex. So we choose the simplest way of representing all these
Right.
different type of rights and giving the as much flexibility as possible to our investors. So the idea now is that your ID NFT or investor ID NFT, as we call it, is not splittable. It's just one. So
Right.
if you want to sell it, you will sell it
The whole thing.
the
Yeah.
whole thing. There could be some secondary market options, as Luke had mentioned. But in the future, it is the DAO that will decide the mechanisms for the next funds. So
Yeah.
if the DAO decides, hey, we understand that, but we would like more complexity, and we would like to have a claiming economic claiming rights dividable, so I can sell 10%
Right.
of it.
Right.
Well, it's up to the DAO to decide. It's not something that is fixed.
Got it.
It's a protocol. It's a parameter on a protocol that can be changed.
And that would be a DBC DAO vote, though, right? Not for the fund.
Yeah, correct.
Because that would be like basically a protocol change.
Yeah. Once you become an investor,
Right.
the fund rules and terms
Are
are
fixed.
fixed.
Right, yeah.
So you cannot change.
Yeah,
that.
because the thing, what it makes me wonder is that, like, if we've already included the concept of a tokenized voting mechanism in the fund, then why not have like a mirrored, like from a design standpoint, why not just then have like a mirrored tokenized, and they could be one for one actually, right? They would be potentially one for one of like every token of voting power is a token of like investing representation,
Yeah.
and then just have you know, ally tokens and ally investment tokens or whatever named after the fund, right? Ally Fund 1 or whatever else. So I guess why not go that route? Just from a design standpoint, when you chose to do it, was it just from simplicity or whatever? Because I feel like a lot of times when you have investors in the traditional sense, if we're talking about existing VC models, and people like buy shares in a thing, they don't get a single paper that says, you know, here's all of your shares. They get actual shares and they can buy and sell some of them. And so I guess from a design standpoint, what drew you to that versus having it, since you already have a concept of something for a token in a fund, not just have tokens for both sides?
Well, that's a very interesting question, and of course there are design trade-offs
Of
that
course.
you consider.
Yeah,
Could
totally.
be good, bad. We don't know.
Yeah, that's
We
why
are
I'm asking. I'm learning
we are
in real
making
time.
a
I don't
road,
know.
yeah.
There's not a loaded question. I have no idea. I'm just
I
asking.
know,
I'm
I
just
know, I
curious,
know,
yeah.
I know. And but thanks for making it, because what we thought is, okay, how we can give all the flexibility that we can give at this moment in time without risking the funds
Yeah.
that are compromised there, without adding too much risk to the management process, and also with the level of maturity in terms of operation of the funds that we will have right now. So what we decided is we need some flexibility in terms of voting rights versus economic rights, and that's why we split into tokens. But then managing all the claiming rights in a dividable token at this point in time could be really messy if
Sure.
you don't make it right.
Sure.
And we think that in the future, to do that, we will need to have a specific smart contract to determine the rules and not allowing for gamification, for gaming of the system or bad behaviors. So we wanted to play a safe bet at this moment, and that's why we created a unique NFT. And in the first funds, I think that the investors will kind of appreciate that, because it will make it simpler for them to take the decision, and they are not risking too much money, so it is okay. But in the future, let's say Fund 3, Fund 4, when we are maybe raising $100 million, I think that that will be the case, and that the people that invested a lot of $1 million in a fund will like to have that flexibility in terms of, hey, I want to sell 10% of my fund.
Yeah. Cool. So do you want
I see many opportunities for expanding the tokenized ecosystem, like I was mentioning EDS, but maybe, for example, someone that is gonna hold an investment for 1 to 2 or 3 years, maybe, they eventually, if it's an NFT, they could just use it as a guarantee, and they can just lend it on a Cardano protocol.
Sure. Yeah,
as a warranty. So I see many DeFi opportunities out there. But like Alex was mentioning at the start, we just want to make it as simple as possible.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then eventually the DAO, DBC holders, is a decentralized DAO, where it's a DAO. So people are just gonna decide on where we expand to. But as an MVP, as a starter, we feel pretty comfortable that this is a good starter.
Cool. So I think so with that, that's probably a good transition point there, because I think from here we've got a really good overview of what the project is, how it comes together, some of the details of it. We can definitely sit down again and get into more details of like how these other things come together. But so for the sake of not running too long, so here we're at the beginning of the year in 2024. I know you guys have this Fund 1 coming up. So let's say, a year from now, the beginning of the year of 2025, where would you like to see Token Allies from there? Like, what are sort of like, in your mind, the milestones you'd like to see progressing over the next 12 months?
Yeah, so the blockchain ecosystem is like an ever-changing ecosystem, right? Personally, thinking about 1 year from now sometimes feels like too long ago, right?
Yeah.
Like too far away. But with the first MVP fund, what we're planning to do is actually validating this model, seeing how this model works and develops, seeing the opportunities, the risk, how come we can improve it, right? Because it's an MVP fund. But thinking 1 year from now and thinking Token Allies hopefully already invested in one fund and more than one, creating several ones with different sizes. Eventually, we are planning on doing a $1 million fund, but why not having a 10 million Cardano fund, right?
Totally.
Why not eventually, if we are getting greedy, why not having a 100 million fund to invest in projects on Cardano? Imagine the impact that it could have for our ecosystem to invest 10 million, 100 million in Cardano projects, right?
And for me, I think the future, it is very bright in terms of if this model gets ratified and everything that we think works as planned. I see this decentralized VC evolve as a protocol. So the idea is to be really decentralized protocol for investment that, let's say that the books market.
Yeah.
And you think that there are many great opportunities for investors to invest in that market, then you can come up to this protocol, present your investment thesis, get approved by the people that are interacting with the protocol, and then create your own fund. Totally decentralized without any permission, just the approval of the people that participate in the protocol.
Nice,
and that will create a very interesting and amazing possibility, because if we achieve that, we would have generate the mechanisms to put together the demand and the offer.
Yeah, that's cool.
All together with self-generated money. So imagine that somebody that has the knowledge, but they lack probably the connections for the financial world, but they do have the knowledge. They understand the opportunity. They know the actors of the ecosystem. They know how to manage and how to measure it. They cannot go to BlackRock, for example, and ask for, hey, allow me for a share there. But they can come to the protocol and say, hey, I have this opportunity for the ecosystem to be able to participate there and generate all sort of decentralized type of investment and opportunities there. And also I see, and we love Cardano and we are totally appreciated for this unique and amazing opportunity that we're having in the community. But we know, and we all share that the future is multi-blockchain, right? It's heterogeneous. Yep. And we think that if we reach out to that protocol level, I will see that protocol will also be valid for many other blockchains as well. So it will create all sort of possibilities to really move the blockchain ecosystem one step ahead towards the future that we all want, right?
Really, really interesting stuff. I thank you so much for sitting down with me. So I guess maybe to wrap it up, Any last thoughts from either of you or both of you? Last thoughts for folks to keep in mind, or how they can get involved, or how they can learn more about the project?
Yeah, I would like to add what Alex is saying is eventually with blockchain and working technology, when you make better products and better system than what we already have, that's where actually adoption happen. And what I'm aiming with token allies is to make better investment mechanisms that eventually surpasses what we already know as traditional venture capitals. And I really see a future where if we make these better systems and if we make these better investment opportunities for people, eventually we could change the whole venture capital and investment industry. And I really, really hope that we can do that with token allies and we can do that on Cardano, is to actually revolutionize industries. And blockchain is not something that just happens on our legal bubble, but we actually change the world and we actually change how things are done, right?
I love that.
Yeah, and to the folks that are listening, thanks for this amazing opportunity and for coming to our lovely Buenos Aires.
Thanks
and
for having me.
everybody is invited,
Yeah,
of
thanks
course.
for having me here.
And to join the movement, right? If you think that what we are doing is valid, if you think that you never have the real chance to become an investor, this is your chance. And it's a DAO, it's totally open, it's permissionless. You go to our site, tokenallies.com, allies as an ally, token, right? Tokenallies.com. And then you can meet your own DVC, become part of the DAO. Just by buying one DVC, you are part of the DAO and you can be an active participant. We have a Discord that is very interesting for interaction. We are very active at the Discord, so you will interact directly to us. And also there is a Telegram channel, and we are doing a lot of interesting activities for the DAO, such as, for example, we are now running a governance action on supporting Catalyst proposals for our DAO preferred ones. So the DAO members can submit their preferred Catalyst Fund 11 proposal. The DAO will select the ones that we are going to support, and the DAO treasury will vote for them in Catalyst, for example. So there is a lot of opportunities to get involved. We really need people that are passionate about this and help us see all the things that we are not seeing as humans, right? Our blind sides. And there is a lot of opportunity or room for improvement in this space. So everybody's welcome. You don't have to be a big whale to become part of that. And we think that we are really democratizing the investment with this idea.
So cool. Well, very exciting stuff. Really looking forward to seeing where the project goes. Alex, thanks so much for sitting down with me. Lucas, a pleasure. If you guys have any questions for the Token Allies team, please let us know in the comments down below. And if nothing else, we'll see you next week. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you.